Don't forget to hit the notification bell icon to notify you on all new videos that's posted on this channel. Shouts out to all the Powers and Sea Bandits. Yes, indeed. How y'all doing? Feeling a lot better now. Man, let me tell y'all, man. I had an ear infection too, man. Not only I was sick, but I had an ear infection too. I was all messed up. Pretty bad ear infection. Wouldn't want to go away. I couldn't hear anything. So I'm feeling a lot better now. Spent my Sunday watching a lot of games this weekend, dealing with that stupid ear infection. The weather be changing, man. It was annoying. But I'm going to spend these next 30 minutes before I get in class, chatting up with you guys about the game. I got a chance to see the game. The Bucs defeat the Tennessee Titans by the score of 20-6. I would say that was an easy victory. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too hard, right? Couple of head scratching moments, but overall the Bucs played pretty well. Would you agree? Would you agree that the Bucs played pretty well? I would say it's probably one of the best games of the season overall. Well, I wouldn't say all the way, but the Bucs still can do some things better. But let me be the first to say, yeah, thanks, appreciate it, Mom, for Christ. Yeah, man, I had a bad ear infection, man. It's like it was pretty bad, man. I'm telling you, I could not go live yesterday. There was no way I was gonna do it. I was like, you know what? Let me just watch the game in peace. I know everybody's probably wondering where I was, but I was here. I was watching the game. I didn't tweet anything. I didn't make any comments or anything like that. So it's just been rough these last couple weeks with I don't know what's going on with the weather, man. It's been weird. But yeah, let me be the first to say this. The NFC South is terrible. I don't know about y'all, but I got to keep it 100. The NFC South is so bad, man. Panthers, bottom of the barrel team. The Falcons, they're showing who they really are. The Bucs, middling team. Saints are a middling team. The Bucs and the Saints are pretty much the same team, in my opinion. They both do the same thing. They both the same team, damn near. Same coaches, same type of defense, pretty much the same type of offense. Both are middling teams. Both not going to do anything well. And I'm not trying to be negative. I was just watching around the league, man, and just looking at the teams now. We're at halfway point. You are who you are now. Like I said, the Bucs are not terrible. We're gonna win some games. We're gonna beat these type of teams, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad I can say this because I'm glad the Bucs can beat teams like this in the regular season. But when you look at this game, and as this game was playing along, I was just sitting to myself watching the game like the Bucs are in complete control of the game. Nothing the Titans was doing was going to be threatening. Now, if you compare the Titans to what the Bucs have played up until this point, the Titans are a bad team. Let's be real. They're a scrappy team, but they're picking in the top 10. I don't think Mike Vrabel's gonna make it. Will Levis, I don't have too much bad to say about him. I mean, he's okay. I didn't like him. He didn't do much in Kentucky when he played good teams. He was hurt. Murphy Bunt was hurt. Levis, I mean, he's a rookie. He'll grow. The Bucs did a great job shutting down Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears. The Titans receivers are terrible. Titans got probably the worst group of receivers in the NFL. The Titans I would say the Titans receiving core is bottom 5. If the Bucs would have lost this game, I would have been like, I'm through with the season. it was hard for me to pick against the Bucs in this game because the Titans overall are just bad. Bad coaching, bad receiving core, a rookie quarterback, O-line is terrible. They had their guard playing tackle, and the Bucs took great advantage of it. The defense played lights out against a terrible offense. Let's be real. It was a terrible offense. One of the worst offenses in the NFL. The Bucs did a great job against one of the terrible offenses in the NFL. Which is supposed to do. The Bucs defense is supposed to play like that. A great bounce back game for the Bucs defense. I have to put a caveat on this game because the Titans offense is terrible. They have no down the field threats. DeAndre Hopkins is a possession receiver. Number 85 is not really good. Number 15 got no hands. Number 11, like they just don't have a lot of weapons. So the Bucs defense, great bounce back game. And it's funny how this works because where was all the crying and screaming about the Bucs defense this game? Because last week against the Texans, you guys was crying about the Bucs defense. And it's crazy. The Bucs defense really only had one bad game for the whole season. But if you look at the other games outside of the Texans game, the Bucs defense has been doing what they're supposed to do. But see, when the defense played good, yeah, I get it. The Titans are a bad team. But when the Bucs defense play good, it's all chest bumping and high fives. But when the Bucs have one bad game, it's all they terrible. Make your mind up, Bucs fans. Make your mind up. Which one is it going to be? Is the Bucs defense terrible? Or are they pretty decent? I'm gonna say they're pretty good to me. They had one bad game throughout the season, and if you really think about it and you look at this game, if the offense was above average, we'll probably be 6-2. 6-3. If the offense did what they're supposed to do in the Falcons game, in the Lions game, the Bills game, if they would have did what they're supposed to do in those games, we'll probably be 6-3. But I don't see nobody crying about that. I don't see nobody pointing that out. So before we blame the defense and try to beat our chest about how bad the defense is, and yes, I get it, CJ Stroud, by the way, it's really him. Did you watch CJ Stroud yesterday? You thought what he did against the Bucs was a fluke? No, CJ Stroud as a rookie is a top 10 quarterback. CJ Stroud is better than 22 quarterbacks in the NFL, including Baker Mayfield. He is so much better than 22 quarterbacks in the NFL. So if it's 32 quarterbacks, 1 to 10, you got your top 10 quarterbacks, and then the other 22. I'm not putting CJ Stroud in the other 22. In the other 22, you put quarterbacks like Will Levis, Kenny Pickett, Baker Mayfield, Jimmy G, Adrian O'Connell, Zach Wilson, Derek Carr, Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke, Sam Howell. All those quarterbacks belong in that bunch. But CJ Stroud is a top 10. A top 10 quarterback. So don't get mad at the Bucs defense because of last week. He did that. Look what he did to the Bengals defense, and the Bengals defense is better than the Bucs defense, in my opinion. So I need y'all to kind of like peel back on the head on Todd Bowles defense, because to be honest with you, the Bucs defense is the biggest reason why we're 4-5. So why are you upset about losing to the Texans when the Texans are legit? They beat the Bengals in Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Texans might be a playoff team. They might win the AFC South. I think Jacksonville gonna fall apart. I think CJ Stroud is better than Trevor Lawrence. And the reason why I'm going back to that game, because there was a lot of talk about fire Todd Bowles and Todd Bowles this. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of Todd Bowles. I get it. You know, he has a low ceiling as a coach. He's not an upper level coach. He's not a mid-level coach. He's like more on the back end of the mid-level. He's more of a 17 to 22 type coach. If you rank 32 coaches, he's more between that 17 to 22 range, which is a low ceiling. We're not going anywhere with Todd Bowles at head coach, but he's not terrible. So before everybody was saying, "Oh, it's terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible," No, he's not terrible, but he's not great. He's not okay. He's like below, he's like right there at the cusp of being below average. So when you look at yesterday's game, the Bucs played well defensively, pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I would say it was a good bounce back game for the defense. It was a confident building win for the Bucs overall, but most importantly, the Bucs defense. Now, next week, it is a different animal because it's San Francisco and they demolished the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Now, we're going to San Francisco, and I'll touch on that game, later this week. Let me go ahead and get this out the way right now. We're not beating San Francisco, in my opinion. Now, we could beat them. Don't get me wrong. We might end up doing some crazy stuff and the ball fall our way. But just going into the game and how both teams are set up, let me say this right now, so y'all don't be thinking about what the Bucs, what BucosLocker going to do, who is he going to pick. We're not beating San Francisco, in my opinion. It doesn't mean we can't beat them. We're just not going to beat them, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? In San Francisco. You know how hard it is to beat San Francisco in San Francisco? And we don't match up well with them. So let's get back to the Titan game. We were too much for the Titans. We was better than them. We were better than them at quarterback. We're better than them at receiver. We're better than them defensively. Mike Vrabel has been more successful than Todd Bowles as a head coach, so I can't say Todd Bowles is better than Mike Vrabel overall as a head coach. You know what I'm saying? But yesterday's game, Todd Bowles did a great job getting his team prepared after being embarrassed defensively. And to bounce back like that, you gotta be happy with that game. You gotta be happy. You gotta be happy with that game. Let's be real. You know what I'm saying? So, as far as the breakdown, the Bucs won 20-6. So offensively, the Bucs moved the ball. They still can't run the ball for whatever reason. Rachaad White had 20 carries for 51 yards. So it seemed like to me the Bucs are hell bent on getting Rachaad White 20 carries. It's like the more attempts he's getting, it's still not equating to a lot of yards. I don't know what the Bucs going to do about that, but it's not equating to a lot of yards. But the good thing is Baker Mayfield had an efficient game. He had a really good game overall. Yeah, he threw a pick. It was an ill-advised pick. He was trying to make a play, trying to give his receiver a chance, which I don't mind Baker Mayfield doing that. When that pick happened, I didn't trip about it, to be honest with you. I see what he was trying to do. I'm going to give my guy a chance. Some people get upset about quarterbacks doing that, but if you believe in your guy, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and throw it down there and see what happens. Because in the NFL, you got to make a play. Somebody got to make a play, and you got to give your guy a chance. A lot of quarterbacks on 3rd and 4th downs, they throw the ball away because they're trying to protect their stats. They don't want to get no interceptions. They're trying to, I'm trying to protect my passer rating and my QBR. That's why I always tell people, even when that interception that Baker Mayfield he threw, people think all interceptions are equal. That's not true. Baker Mayfield threw that interception. What did the Titans do? Exactly, it was an arm punt. But see, people don't understand football because they think you turn the ball over. It's the world is coming to an end. You know what I'm saying? But what did the Titans do after the arm punt? What did he do? Now, if the interception would have happened on our side of the field, inside the 20-yard line, inside the 30, 40-yard line, yeah, that's you can't do that. But that ball was thrown way down in. And the Bucs defense did a great job. That's the point of having complementary football. If the team turns the ball over, it's the defense job to stop them, not give up. And the Bucs defense did not give up. I get it. But I wasn't tripping about interception. I wasn't like, oh, what the, you know what I'm saying? That's some bullcrap. Damn it, Baker Mayfield. No, he played an efficient game. I think this is one of his better games of the season, in my opinion. This is one of his better games of the season, despite the Mike Evans drop balls. And we'll get to him in a second. I don't know what's going on with Mike Evans. Now, he did redeem himself. He had 6 catches for 143 yards, but he should have had more. But my goodness. What is going on with Mike Evans' hands? Is he not believing in his hands? It's weird to me. Dave Canales had a great game plan as far as the passing. He basically did what he wanted to do against the Titans secondary. He had the Titans secondary confused. Now, granted, he almost had a fumble. It was a fumble, and Tristan Wirfs picked it up. So that could have been a terrible turnover. As a matter of fact, it was 7-3 when it happened. It was 7-3 when Baker Mayfield fumbled the ball and Tristan Wirfs picked it up. Now that would have changed the game, but luckily Tristan Wirfs had his head in the game and recovered the fumble. Phew, thank God. And the Bucs went on ahead and got a score on that same drive. So we dodged the bullet right there. You know what I'm saying? He dodged the bullet. So passing wise, the Bucs did pretty good to me. I don't know about y'all. Y'all know me. I'm an offensive guy. And I'm always focused on the offense because I know the defense is going to do what they're supposed to do for the majority of the game, outside of the lapses, right? But the offense always made me nervous, and it always makes me kind of concerned in every game this season, probably outside of this game. Every game this season, the offense had me kind of like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, why can't they just get it right? It's always, to me, the passing game looks a way, way, way better than the running game. So Baker Mayfield threw the ball 29 times. The Bucs ran the ball 29 times, or 29 times. So it was a balanced attack. Now, one thing they did struggle on, they struggled closing out the game. And I'm going to say this, and I'll put this in perspective. When the Bucs were up multiple scores, I see they were trying to run the ball, but they wasn't going anywhere. And I'm going to say this for the 1,000th time. As much as the Bucs don't want to admit this offensively, the Bucs are a passing team. Just like last year. The Bucs are a passing team. I got to keep it 100. And it's almost like they are in denial. The Bucs are literally last year's versions of the Bucs. This year's Bucs are literally last year's version of the Bucs. They can't run the ball, but they can throw the ball. Why can't the Bucs just go into these games with that type of passing attack? Go into the game and say, hey, look, we might be struggling to run the ball, but guess what? We're going to throw this thing. And I'm not trying to be biased and saying chuck the ball around 40 plus times, but 25 to 35 times is good for the Bucs. But those pass attempts need to be effective. You feel me? So shout out to Baker Mayfield playing his probably one of his best games of the season. I get it. I got to put the caveat on it. You know what I'm saying? It's the Titans. I get it. Not going anywhere. I get it. But you still want to see Baker have games like this against teams like this. These games are supposed to be check in the box, checkmate, green check, blue check type games, like guaranteed these are wins. We don't have 2 games where it's head-scratching games, the Texans game and the Falcons game. 2 games that were head-scratching games that are L's. If we win those 2 games, the Bucs are 6-3. But because of coaching and play calling, we're 4-5. That's below average. The Bucs got the dub, but when you look at the record as of right now, the Bucs are a below average team. Average is 500. Let's not try to flip the script and try to make math what you want to make it. But right now, despite this victory, the Bucs are a below average team. And you're right. We had to win this game. The Titans, if anybody understands football, when you look at the Tennessee Titans, be honest with yourself. Did you really believe the Titans were going to win that game? Did you think at any moment the Titans had any chance of winning that game? Be real. Answer the question. As you watched that game, it was a pretty boring game. I was happy the Bucs were doing good, but to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad the Bucs played the Titans at this point of the season because the Bucs needed a game like this, offensively and defensively, after being embarrassed the last couple weeks. Now, these next 2 games are not going to be easy. The 49ers and Colts. And we might laugh at the Colts with Gardner Minshew and all that, but them Colts are scrappy. They're better than the Titans. Gus Bradley, the DC, Shane Steichen, the OC/head coach. That game will be more competitive than the Titans game. These next 2 games will be a lot more competitive. Now, I think we'll go 1-1, in my opinion. I think we'll come out of the stretch, 5-6 with the home down the stretch with 6 games to go. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad we got this done. Can you imagine? I don't want to imagine it, but just to put it out there, just, scenario based, the Bucs couldn't lose this game. They couldn't. They couldn't lose this game. But I know who the Bucs are right now. I will say that after 9 games, I know what the Bucs are. I know who the Bucs are. Watching this game and going all the way back to week 1, the Bucs are at best an average team. Let me repeat that. The Bucs are not bad. They're not really, really good. The Bucs are average team at best. That means on their best day, they're an average team. And what I mean by average team is that means you got some holes. You got some holes that just won't fix itself. The games are about to get cold. It's about to be bad weather. The wind about to be blowing, and the Bucs can't run the ball. That's what concerns me down the stretch. Going against teams like the 49ers and a scrappy Colts team. Who else? Falcons, in divisional games, always tough, Panthers and Falcons. We should be able to beat the Packers, right? Should. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they're up and down, But the Bucs should be able to finish the season 500. Because I'm telling you right now, if whoever gets to 9 games is going to win the NFC South. 8 or 9 games will be enough. 8 or 9 games will be enough to win the division. Whether y'all want to believe it or not, 8 and 9, 9 and 8 will be the best for that division. Because when I was watching the Panthers, when I watched the Falcons who lost to Arizona, and when I watched the Bucs and I watched the Saints, there's a clear separation between 3 teams and the Panthers, right? The Panthers are the bottom of the barrel of the division. And then the Falcons, they're going to fall apart because of Arthur Smith. He's terrible. And then you look at the Bucs. The Bucs are a middling team. They'll win some games, and then they'll lose some games, and then they'll lose a couple of these head-scratching games. Like, what? How did they lose that game? And I guarantee you, there will be probably 2 more of those head-scratching, how the hell did they lose the game? I hate to say that, folks, but watching the Bucs up until this point, week 9, I know what they are. They're going to have 1 or 2 more games where you're going to be like, what the WTF? How did they lose this game? If the Bucs can find a way to get on the run and win 4 in a row, that'll be great. That'll be great, but it's just not going to happen. That's the reality. The NFL is hard. There are some teams that the Bucs are supposed to beat that's left on the schedule, but the Bucs are a strange team. They're a very strange team. Now, I don't know how much stock you're going to put in this Titans game, but you know me. You know how I judge the Bucs. I always judge the Bucs when they play teams that are better than them or just as good. I always judge the Bucs on those games. The games that they're supposed to win, I don't get super hyped about because I'm like, you're supposed to win that game. Go win the games you're not supposed to win. Go win the games you're supposed to win. I mean, go win the games you're supposed to win and win the games that you're not supposed to win. Matter of fact, go into San Francisco and beat San Francisco. How about that? Can you give us one of these games? Can you give us one of these surprise, small fries, hard eyes, super size? Give us one of those games. You'll be like, oh, the Bucs just beat the 49ers. Nobody seen that coming. Can we get one of those? Because as you look at the schedule, the 49ers, the Colts, and the Jags and the Saints are the 4 teams that have a 500 or better record on the schedule. So the next 8 games, there are 4 teams with a record of 500 or better left on the schedule as of right now. Can the Bucs finish strong? That's the question. Can they finish strong? Can they look at this Titans game and be like, we got something? We got something. And the Bucs do. They got something. They working with something. They got to be consistent for 4 quarters. Now, in the Titans game yesterday, they were not consistent all 4 quarters. They just was a better team overall. The Bucs are just better than the Titans. The Titans used to be pretty good, right? Then they just fell apart. So I'm happy the Bucs won the game, but the Bucs are 4-5. That equals to below average. 9 games into the season, the Bucs are 4-5. If we do the same thing the next 9 games, that'll put the Bucs at 8-9. I had them at 7-10. So I might be a game or 2 off. But if the Bucs do the same thing for the next 7 games, if they go for the next 8 games, they go 4-4, that's 8-9. 4-4, 5-4, that's 9-8, 8-9. 4-5, 5-4, that's 9-8, 8-9. Whoever gets to 8 or 9 wins going to win the division and going to host a playoff game and get blown out. You're probably going to be playing the Cowboys. So Cowboys back at the Bucs Stadium. We don't match up well against them for whatever reason. We don't match up well against the Eagles. We don't match up well against the Lions. And who saw the Vikings turn their season around? Shout out to Brian Flores. A lot of people ain't talking about this. I know the Vikings have won 5 in a row. But let me make this clear. When we played the Vikings, something wasn't right with them. But once that defense started to understand Brian Flores' scheme, the Minnesota Vikings defense has played very well. I watched that game yesterday against the Saints. Minnesota defense ain't no pushover. If we was to play Minnesota right now, I think the outcome would be the same, but it'll be just as close as the first game. Remember, we beat Minnesota and we beat them and we were +3 on the turnovers. And we beat them by 3 points. We beat them 24-10. We beat them 24-10 and we had 3 turnovers. And that was in Minnesota. I think we'll still beat them, but it'll be a lot closer. Because they are a lot better now than they were in week 1. So look at the difference between the teams. If you look at the first 4 games in quarters, right? In quarters. The first quarter of the season, we were much better than Minnesota. Minnesota wasn't going anywhere. They were terrible. Even with Kirk Cousins putting up big numbers on Justin Jefferson and all that. But look at the arrows, though. This is what I was trying to tell y'all at the beginning of the season. Don't beat your chest. It don't work like that. This is why I was trying to tell y'all to settle down, let at least half of the season play out, and see where your team at. But people jumping up and down, beating their chest. Oh, the Bucs 3-1. We really like that. No, man. I say give this team until about week 8, week 9, week 10. You'll see where we at. Fast forward, right on cue, halfway through the season, basically, Minnesota is better than us. Never judge a team off the first quarter of the season. The Bengals, they were down and out. No, the Bengals was horrible too. Joe Burrow was hurt. Calf injury. Fast forward to week 9, the Bengals are a lot better now. You want to be better now. That's the point I'm trying to make. Just because the Bucs started out 3-1, you really thought they were like that. And I told y'all to settle down. I hope y'all got y'all humble pie. Because now we 4-5 after 9 weeks. Are you humble now? because a lot of you were beating your chest talking about 3-1. Oh, you know what I'm saying? 3-1. 5 weeks later, 4-5. That's why I'm not tripping about the Bucs record. A lot of you tripping about the Bucs record because you had high hopes because of the 3-1 start. You really put a lot of stock in the Bucs beating the Bears. You put a lot of stock in that. You put a ton of stock in the Bucs beating the Saints, which I understand that part. The Saints are a middling team just like us. Even though they're one game ahead of us, they are a middling team. It is what it is. But when you look at the games that really matter, Eagles, Lions, and Bills, I mean, all games matter, but the games that had the most importance, the Bucs are 0-3 against playoff teams. Let me repeat that. Probably 0-4 because if you look at the Texans, the Texans might make the playoffs. So as of right now, the Bucs are 0-4 against playoff teams. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? I'm sorry. Let me rewind it again. The Bucs are 1-4. Because Minnesota, you can kind of say they're kind of a playoff team right now in this situation. A wild card team, basically, right? So the Bucs beat Minnesota, lost to the Eagles, lost to the Lions, lost to the Bills, and lost to the Texans. The Bucs are 1-4 against playoff teams at the halfway point. What does that tell you about the Bucs? And against teams that are not going to the playoffs as of right now, that's the Bears. Matter of fact, no, they're 2-4. They're 2-4 against playoff teams. Teams that are not going to the playoffs, the Bucs they beat the Bears and they beat the Titans. So the Bucs got a weird schedule. They're 2-1. They're 1-4 or 2-4 against playoff teams as of right now, and 2-1 against non-playoff teams. And luckily, the Bucs are still in the running for the division. The Saints got a bye, and we got the 49ers. That's a bad combination. And it's funny because it's almost like we got to win. We got to beat the 49ers some way, somehow, right? Because if we beat the 49ers, the Bucs go to 5-5. Right? The Saints are on a bye. And the Saints coming out of the bye, they playing the Carolina Panthers. I mean, they playing the Atlanta Falcons, who's falling apart. So let's just say, and the Saints pretty much got the Falcons' number. History shows that. Like the recent history. So let's just say the Saints beat the Falcons. They go to 6-5. And if we lose against San Francisco, we 4-6. We can't do that. We can't do that, folks. Got to find a way to beat the 49ers at the end of the day, whether you like it or not. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know. Watching the 49ers play against the Jacksonville Jaguars, they got Chase Young now. That pass rush is ferocious. Javon Hargrave, Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Ken Long, Chase Young. I mean, they get after you. They get after you. I don't know what the Bucs going to do. And the problem with that game, and I'll get more detail in that game, it's just the 49ers are just a lot more physical. They're just a lot more physical than the Bucs. I hope the Bucs do good. I really do. But at the end of the day, let's get back to the Titans game. What did you like about the game? What stood out to you? What was impressive to you? Let me tell you what was impressive to me. Clancy. Yaya Diaby. Let me get a glass of Yaya and a shot of Kalasha Clancy. The young guys played good on that D-line. Let's give some love to both of them. I told y'all, I want to see more Yaya. I want to see more Yaya. I want to see more of him over Joe Tryon. And I think the Bucs starting to realize that. In my personal opinion, I think the Bucs realize that. I think we got to give Yaya more snaps. It's clear to see that he can hold up against the run, right? He can rush the passer. He can cover a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You got to put that man in there more. Like, I don't know. Sometimes a lot of teams do this with the young guys. It's almost like, I don't know why teams do this to the young guys offensively or defensively when you unsure of the young guy and you don't know what you're going to get and you don't want to put him in a bad situation. Sometimes the guys are just talented and you got to put him out there. You got to put him out there. You got to put him out. You got to put him out there. You got to put the young guys out there. You can't be scared of the young guys making mistakes, because if they talented, they're gonna overcome those mistakes and they're gonna learn from those mistakes a lot quicker. And every team does this. I don't know why when they got a rookie that's got some talent and they be like, well, we don't want to mess him up. Well, how's he gonna learn? How are these rookies gonna learn? As you start playing Yaya and Clyde and Moore, as you see, they starting to produce. Which I was telling y'all at the beginning of the season, this draft class has the potential to be our best draft class in a long time. From top to bottom. I'm not talking about first round, second round, that's it. I'm talking about just overall draft class. Trey Palmer, he made a really good catch, a couple good catches. You know what I'm saying? Made a hellified catch. We're still waiting on Sean Tucker. We're still waiting on him. But the Bucs can't be afraid to play the young guys. If the young guys are going to be more productive, give them more snaps. Give them more snaps. Don't even wait. We need those young guys down the stretch to win some of these games. As a matter of fact, let's get back to the Titans game real quick. Did you see Clancy against the run? Guards. One thing about Clancy, if you don't get your hands on Kalijah Clancy, he's going to beat your guard or your center. But the only issue I got with Kalijah Clancy is I notice when they get their hands on him. When they get their hands on him, he kind of doesn't really know how to get off those battles yet. But he's going to learn. But if Kalijah, what I've noticed, if you don't get your hands, if those guards and those centers don't get their hands on Kalijah Clancy, he's going to be in the backfield. He's a penetrating. Let me say this real quick. I think Kalijah Clancy would be a hellified 4-3 defensive tackle. I don't think he's a 3-4 defensive tackle or a DN. I think he'll be a hellified 4-3 penetrating defensive tackle. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm just watching Kalijah play. I'm like, I know the base defense is a 3-4, but he don't even fit that. And the reason being is when those guards get their hands on him, he doesn't know how to shed those blocks because he's not strong enough yet. That's why he uses his quickness more than his power. Go back and watch the All-22. The dude is going to be a problem. I think the Bucs should draft a couple more D linemen, whether it's DNs or outside linebackers, with Kalijah and with Yaya. The Bucs are on their way defensively on the D line. They're on their way. They're on their way. They just need more talent on the D line, more depth, more better depth, because the Bucs still struggle in certain areas. You know what I'm saying? The Bucs need a couple more guys. That's all they need to pair up with Yaya and Clancy and the aging Shaq Barrett, because he's aging, but we need about 2 or 3 more guys. The Bucs gonna be a problem on that D line. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Watts, exactly. Watts, he's nice. They gotta give him some more playing time. But I like what I saw out of the young guys with Trey Palmer and Clancy and Yaya. Cody Mulch, he was okay. They still can't run the ball. The Bucs just it's a couple areas they need to get really good at: running the ball and rushing the passer. and have more depth on the D-line and get some better secondary guys. I think the Bucs gonna be a problem. Like I said, I like the Bucs' future because they head in the right direction. It's just that they gotta finish this season strong. Whether they get to the playoffs or not, they gotta finish strong. We're at the halfway point. We got 8 games left. We're gonna find out if Todd Bowles is gonna stick around. Preferably, I prefer a new coach. Let me go ahead and put that out there. I prefer a Brian Callahan or a Ben Johnson or Eric Bieniemy. But the Bucs got to get better in the interior O-line, more depth on the D-line, more talent on the D-line, and some better guys in the secondary. And the Bucs gonna be a problem. As far as quarterback, you got a quarterback that can be your bridge quarterback, or you can move on from him. But he's not the future. And the only thing about getting another head coach is if you go get Ben Johnson or you go get Brian Callahan, they're not keeping Dave Canales around. If you go get an offensive coach, he's not keeping Dave Canales around. This is why it's very important that the Bucs finish strong, because if the Bucs finish strong, that means Todd Bowles stays and Dave Canales stays. That's another year under the Dave Canales system with Baker Mayfield possibly, right? But you still should draft a quarterback because Baker Mayfield is a bridge quarterback. But if the Bucs do not finish strong, there is no way you bring back that staff. You got to wipe it clean. The GM too. This is why if you like this Bucs current setup and where they're heading at, it's very important for Todd Bowles and the rest of the staff, offensively, defensively, special teams, to finish strong. Because if they don't finish strong and they finish the season, like 4-5 right now. If they finish the season 3-5, that's 7-10. Or if they finish the season 4-4, that's 8-9. Now what do you do? Now you're just a middling team again for the second year in a row. And then what that does is that will leave some hope. That will leave hope for a lot of Bucs fans. Oh, well, we went 8-9. We're not bad. We a couple pieces away. Let's give Todd Bowles another year. Personally, I want Ben Johnson or Brian Callahan or Eric Bieniemy. Give me those guys with Baker Mayfield or a young quarterback. Because the Bucs are in a really tricky situation. The Bucs got to be careful. They got to finish strong, whether y'all want to believe it or not. The Bucs do concern me, though. They do concern me. They make me nervous. But at the end of the day, the Bucs, they finish the season and they finish the game strong enough. They're 4-5. San Francisco's next. Give me your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about this game? Was it a really good game? Did you like it okay? What would you give the grade to Bucs? What would you grade the Bucs? I'll give them a B+. Yep, I will give them a B+. What did you give the Bucs beating the Titans? I give them a B, a solid B, because they still can't run the ball. The reason why they can't get an A, they can't run the ball. 20 carries for 51 yards, man. That's not going to work against San Francisco. You got to be able to run the ball against San Francisco. You can't be one-dimensional against San Francisco. It ain't going to work. So, give me your thoughts in the comment section. I got class, so I'm about to get up out of here. Fire those cannons. Seize the day. Raise the flag. Hashtag finish strong. Hashtag don't get mad at me. I don't play the game. I just talk about it. Hashtag facts over feelings. Hashtag what does your eyes tell you? Hashtag what are we doing with the running game? Hashtag why? Hashtag what is this? Hashtag pay Mike, right? Hashtag shake and bake. Y'all be safe and y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. I got class. We'll talk about the 49ers game possibly tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm going to holler at y'all. Deuces.